Howdy everyone, it's me Grace, and welcome back. I've been doing a ton of gardening this summer and decided to make myself a gardening apron. I was really inspired by Christine McConnell's apron design she made last year. I wanted to make something cute and functional like Christine's, that I would still be comfortable with getting dirty, wet, and muddy while working in the garden. I sketched out a few apron designs to choose from and ended up going with the V-neck design. I decided to make it out of some linen from my local craft store. I love linen because it's so light, cool, durable, and soft. First, I'm making the apron piece that will be under the bodice. I want it to reach my ankle and be twice as wide as my body, so I can have plenty of room to make a ruffled waist later. I held the fabric to make sure that it was long enough before cutting it to size. I also cut a long, rectangular piece of fabric that I will make into a waistband here in a little bit. I just made sure that it was long enough to tie into a loose knot around my waist. For the bodice part of the apron, I made a pattern by taping some standard size paper together, folding it in half, and sketching my pattern onto it. When I make my patterns, I just hold the piece of paper up to me and look in a mirror to make sure it looks right before cutting away or adding more paper. I made sure to make the shoulder straps extra long so they could crisscross in the back and attach to the waistband. After my pattern was done, I transferred it onto 2 layers of linen so it would have a bit more stability. Then I clipped the 2 edges to one another and sewed them together with my sewing machine. Now I can flip it right side out. I wanted to make a big pocket as well to keep my herbs in while I'm harvesting. At first I thought I wanted it to be on the bodice, but I eventually decided it would be more functional on the skirt part of the apron instead. I transferred the pattern pocket on 2 layers of linen, sewed the edges together, making sure to leave a little hole on one side, and then I flipped it right side out. I ironed my pocket flat so it would be neat and set it aside for now. I did the same thing with the bodice piece before moving on. Ironing your project as you go is really satisfying, but it'll also help keep the final result looking a lot neater too. I found this adorable lace trim at my local craft store. It's spider web, look! It's so cute. It said on the packaging it was glow in the dark, and I did find that to be false advertising, but either way, it's still really cute. I'm top stitching the lace to the outside of the shoulder pieces. At this point, I started getting really excited because I think this lace just went perfectly with the rest of the design. And finally, I did a test fit of the bodice before moving on. I'm ironing the waistband and sewing it into place. I also hem the edges of each side. Now that the waistband is done, I can set it aside and finish the skirt part of the apron. I'm sewing hems on the sides and bottom of the skirt. On the top part of the skirt that isn't hemmed, I'm using embroidery thread and a needle to hand stitch a straight line across the top of the skirt. This will help me create a ruffle. I chose to make my apron wide enough so it would fit around the majority of my waist, but of course you can make the skirt as wide or as slim as you'd like. Then I sewed the bodice to the skirt, making sure the skirt was even on both sides. Now I can stitch on the waistband to the bottom of the bodice and to the top of the skirt. I also sewed the shoulder straps to the back of the waistband. Lastly, I sewed the pocket to the skirt and used embroidery floss to stitch in a gathered opening for the pocket, just so I don't have to worry about any herbs falling out while I'm harvesting. And with that, the construction of the apron is complete. It's so cute so far, but it's not quite done yet. I decided to dye the apron this beautiful teal color. I always find dyeing fabric so exciting. Dye can really transform an entire piece. This color was the end result. If I wanted it to be a bit darker, I could have left it in the dye bath longer. But I was going for a more pastel look, so this is exactly what I wanted. Most of the lace was polyester, so the spider webs stayed white, while the mesh underneath turned teal. I was kind of hoping that would happen, so this is really exciting. I wanted to add some embroidery details to the apron too. I sketched out my idea and then decided to take a coffee break. When I came back, I found Solaire wasn't a fan of my design. But if this year has taught me anything, you can't satisfy everyone. I'm going with a spiderweb design on the pocket and a little spider hanging down from the shoulder. Now let's get stitching. My favorite thing to do before going to sleep is embroidery, so this project was perfect to do in bed. It was really relaxing. I'm using white embroidery thread to match the white spider webs on the lace. I stayed up exceptionally late this night and found out why Miss Neener sleeps all day. It's because she has zoomies all night long. After the embroidery was finished, all's left to do is use my new gardening apron. I have already gotten it muddy several times, machine washed it, and it has held up like a champ. Not to mention, I feel really cute while doing yard work now. I hope y'all liked the video, and if you did, I hope you'll subscribe because I would love to see you back. Until next time, bye y'all.